Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Maggie, and welcome to the M&M Debrief podcast where Mike and Maggie discuss the top stories in politics and sports and try to make sense of it all. Mike, do we have any follow ups from the last episode?
Yes, I have a couple of follow-ups. You mentioned William Shatner. We talked about the Blue Origin episode, how it
I
blew up,
did.
and how celebrities had gone into space. Technically, William Shatner being one of. I just wanted to point out to folks, there's a video of William Shatner after his trip. He's down on the ground and he's attempting to describe, the majesty of everything. And there's Jeff Bezos just sitting next to him saying, "Hey, dude, have some champagne. Let's go. Let's party." So it was kind of a funny thing. James T. Kirk trying to describe the majesty of space in his,
Hmm.
later years, trying to be eloquent about it, and Jeff Bezos is just trying to party with some champagne. So it's kind of an interesting little video. Uh, and then I just wanted to point out that the Trump slush fund, which we've talked about a couple times, has now been dropped.
For
Yesterday.
now.
Yeah, for now, I suppose. Yeah, though there's a surprisingly growing list of things that are actually uniting the country, and one of
Right.
the one one of them is the opposition to this stupid war, and another one is the slush fund. Apparently, pissed off everybody, and so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, did he really think he was going to get by with that? I mean,
Yes, he did. I'm sure he did. Yeah.
well, that just says everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And look how much he's done. I mean, yeah, this is one setback, but the 40 other things that he's done that have screwed things up, they're still going, so
This is true.
you don't get a hit every time you come up the plate to the plate. So
Yeah, I really feel for him. Yeah.
anyway, let's get on to the Iran ceasefire, which
Yeah.
I think it might actually turn back into the Iran war. So we'll see. So let's see. The Iranians have cut off negotiation. Mainly, their main reason was the war in Lebanon is still, or the attacks in Lebanon. The Israelis going into southern Lebanon is still a thing, and I think that's what they said was their main reason for cutting off negotiations. Is kind of this. I'm sure there's 10 other reasons, but that being the most popular one. So that tells me we got no war, we got no ceasefire. Let me think here. We're probably gonna go back to war. I got a couple other indications that tell me things might get fired up here shortly. The U.S. is. I've just seen that the U.S. is moving all of their available assets in the region into Tel Aviv. A few dozen KC-135s, which are refueling planes, and all kinds of other equipment are all getting reconnoitered or collected at the Tel Aviv airport, which I'm not sure exactly what that tells me. Kind of a rally around the flag thing, or maybe the Alamo. We're getting
Well,
surrounded here, so we're all gonna regroup at the Alamo.
yes. Well, I think, we might have talked about this a little bit. It is a retreat, would you say?
I would say yes. Well, a regrouping. Obviously, if they pull all that stuff back to America, that's the next step. So the next step, pulling everything just out of there and back to America, that's the retreat. This is like one
This is
step
one
bit
step toward retreat.
toward
He's not
retreat.
going to be seen as a quote unquote loser.
Mhm.
So he's going to retreat to Israel with the idea that he could fight back again if he wants to. So he's buying time and, you know, we talked about potentially why would he do that? And it's probably because the rest of the Gulf area want him to leave because they don't want to be attacked by Iran.
Well, that's for sure. The GCC states are definitely disappointed, to say the
They want
least.
him out of there.
Right.
I feel like they're telling him to get the hell out of there. You've, excuse my French, fucked this up big time. You told us this would be fantastic. You and Israel. And, get the hell out of here. We're done. We're done. And so he's going back to Israel with his tail between his legs. He's going to lick his wounds, figure out what he's going to do next. And, we'll see.
Yeah, we're going into Cuba next. I'm thinking there just might not be enough airfields left for them to fly missions out of. So they might think, well, okay, Tel Aviv is the only thing left. But yeah, the next step is to pull everything back to America. So that's nothing but a retreat. And I guess we'll see. It's kind of a big thing. It might be easier to run the missions out of Israel. I'm trying to think
Yeah,
of trying to think of the map here.
I'm sure it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and all the GCC countries are. Yeah, I think you're right on that. It's like, get the hell out of here. You had your chance. We paid you. We used your petrodollar system. We paid a bunch of money for all your equipment, and we allowed you to be on our sovereign territory. And guess what? We still got the shits knocked out of us. So,
right. Well,
see
they're
ya.
also hurting for money as well, right?
Yeah,
Because they're not
yeah,
selling their oil.
we're in the trillions now. I think as far as money loss, as far as yeah, all of them, Saudi, UAE, they
Right.
can't sell anything. So
So I think they're done, and they're of the opinion it's I'd rather pay Iran and Oman than nothing. And so I think I think the Gulf just kicked Trump out,
pro-
the more I
uh,
think of it.
yeah, that's probably a big part of it. They get to strut around being allies with America, and they have F-15s and F-35s and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden,
I think they were
yeah,
they were hanging on, waiting to see if this ceasefire negotiation would happen, and
uh,
who knows, maybe they already told Trump, "This has to work or we're done." And
yeah,
clearly, Iran said, "This isn't gonna work for us. We're done," because of Netanyahu hitting Lebanon, right?
yep, yeah,
And now they're done. "Get out of here. We're done. We need to move on."
yeah. They've
And that's why he's back in, his options were to go back to America or go to Israel.
Right, and a lot of people
Failures.
are already saying a lot of very well connected and knowledgeable people are already saying that we've lost. Maybe he hasn't quite
Rubio
got it yet.
today Rubio today, I saw that he said it's over. The war is over. We don't have to seek authority anymore from Congress because the war is over. Yeah,
Okay,
but,
that's I didn't see that.
it's
Um,
over, quote, unquote, and of
mhm.
course, Congress was like, "Really?"
So maybe let's. This is speculation. I'm just gonna riff here, speculate.
Yeah.
So they put all those assets in Tel Aviv. Maybe they're gonna help bomb Lebanon. Maybe we're just gonna forget about
We
Iran
don't
and we.
have a beef with Lebanon, though, do we?
Well, we hate Hezbollah, which I'm not gonna be a cheerleader for Hezbollah, that's for sure. But maybe it's just easier. This is the way America works. We go up against a really tough foe, we get our ass kicked, and so what are we gonna need to do? We're
You'll
gonna need
pick
to
a
go
weaker foe so you can be a winner again.
exactly. This is Trump's style. He punches down. The real tough
Yeah,
guys, the real men, punch up, right?
right.
Trump punches down. So he's thinking, I need a win. I need an easy win. I'll go in and help Israel take out Lebanon. I'm not sure how Iran will exactly react to that, but yeah, okay, that could be. Maybe that could be.
Well, again, Congress would have a problem with that, like,
Oh,
"Why?
it's a
Why are
new.
we attacking Lebanon?"
Well, no, everybody hates Lebanon, so everybody hates Hezbollah because they're all bought off and they've all been programmed to hate. I mean, there's a lot of not to not like about Hezbollah, but they are fighting a
The
resistance
American
movement.
people will not accept another war
Yeah, I hope you're right on that.
fought, for sure.
Yeah, it's either that or they're gonna use Tel Aviv to go into Iran, I guess. So it might be easier, and that might be the only airfield they have left, or one of the few airfields they have left. Just flying out of some spots in NATO and flying out of Israel logistically, and it might be the
Okay.
only airports they got left, airfields they got left. So anyway, we shall see on that. But in other news, apparently Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu had a unvarnished conversation a couple of days ago. It came out of Axios News.
Mhm.
Non Axios is a news service is relatively polished and relatively knowledgeable. Yeah,
That's good.
apparently Trump just ripped Netanyahu a new one, telling him you'd be in jail if it wasn't for me. You're making
Which is
everybody
true.
hate. You're making which is true. You'd make everybody hates Israel because of
which is
this,
true.
which is yes, which is
Well,
true.
yeah. People now
And
all hate Israel because of Netanyahu and what he's done since, you know.
yeah, and apparently this has all been and confirmed and everything. So what's gonna happen? I don't know. If all the people who are paid off by AIPAC go into the White House and say, "Look, you better make up with Benjamin Netanyahu, or we're going to impeach you," or he's saying, "We just need one more chance to get a Lebanon," or he somehow smooth talked him and talked him out of it. Maybe
Mhm.
well, I guess we'll see. But Trump ain't happy. So let's see.
That's great.
Looks like the other side of the Arabian Peninsula, it looks like it's gonna get shut down by the Houthis, the Ben el Mandeb Strait, which is on the other side of the Arabian Peninsula, which
Okay.
a lot of commerce comes through there too. Not it's not oil, but a lot of other commerce comes through there. That looks like that's probably gonna get shut down by the Houthis, which are this rebel group in Yemen that are being supplied and supported by Iran. And by the way, Hezbollah is showing some stuff. The Houthis are showing some stuff. Hamas is getting creamed, but they're still fighting. So if you want to be pissed at Iran, okay, but guess what? Their satellites aren't doing all that bad. So speaking of Hezbollah, I'm seeing a lot more videos, FPV videos, which are first person video.
Mhm.
So this is now drone warfare, by the way, and America is way behind on that. So it's basically a quadcopter with a bomb on it. Then they have cameras on them. So now the videos are just showing the drone flying around, and all of a sudden they see a tank or they see a place where some soldiers are sitting, and just they go straight in and take it out. There's more and more first person video drones that are showing up on the internet going into northern Israel and taking out tanks. They're becoming more of a thing on the internet. Uh, Oman is starting to get into the crosshairs of our administration, and so that tells me that
Really?
Oman owns the land on the other side of the Strait of Hormuz,
Right.
and I'm pretty sure that they're starting to make a deal with Iran. I think they're
Yeah,
they're kind of
they
they're
are.
kind of
They're
they're
gonna
kind of
share the tolls, right?
they're going to share the tolls. They're looking around the landscape, and I think they're going to choose to stay with Iran. So I could tell that because American diplomats and elected officials are saying, and Trump himself are saying, "Man, better play ball, or we're gonna blow them up." So I was like, okay, whatever Oman is doing, they must be on. They must have hit the right button there.
Oman was helping with the negotiations and the ceasefire for a while at the very beginning, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
Uh,
trying to come to an agreement before Trump started bombing them.
Yeah, I mean, the United Arab Emirates is definitely on the side of America and Israel. Oman looks like they're going with Iran. Saudi Arabia had a non-aggression pact with Iran. Not sure about Bahrain or Yemen is definitely with Iran. Qatar, yeah, I'm sure. Qatar.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of negotiations, the Pakistani guy who's like the head negotiator between America and Iran has come out very strongly publicly saying that China is basically the only adult in the room. China's showing leadership. They're being sober. And Pakistan is saying they're the only adults in the room around here.
Wow.
And making a point, going out of his way to mellifluously compliment China. And I got a couple things on China later on, but yeah.
Right.
So Pakistan must be getting pissed off trying to negotiate between these two guys, so,
Wow.
between
Well
Israel
well,
and Iran.
China's obviously just sitting back, as you said before, and just kind of watching the 2 of them duke it out.
Yeah, they're just drinking their tea, just watching. Whenever your enemy is destroying themselves, just don't do
Let
anything.
them.
Just sit back and watch. Yeah, Iran's going to come out of this at the top of the Middle East. China's going to come out probably at least equal to America. And China's not really a huge military power. They haven't really invaded a lot of people. So I don't know what they're going to do with the military, but anyway, what else have I got? So the Iranians, the hacking group that I mentioned, the Iranian hackers, apparently they took over the space force. We have the Army, Navy, Marines, and the Air Force. We also have the Space Force. Remember that from the
And
first
Trump
administration?
created that, didn't he, in his first term?
Trump created the Space Force.
Everybody was
Yes.
making a joke out of it for a while.
Yeah, and the Iranian hacker group took over their Instagram account recently, a couple days ago, and
Funny.
just started publishing all kinds of stuff about Vietnam and everything. everything.
Oh my god.
So maybe they probably have the skills to get into some other places, but if they got into the Instagram account of the Space Force and started trash talking us from there, so I think they eventually got it shut down. But kind of funny, I think. But
Yeah.
and one other thing about the other war, the Ukrainian-Russian war, is that the U.S. is looking into moving more DCA aircraft into other NATO countries. So that's dual capable aircraft. So these are aircraft capable of a regular mission and a nuclear mission. And
Uh,
right now, we got them in Belgium, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, the UK, and Turkey. But apparently, the US is looking at NATO. We could put some of these DCA vehicles in your country as well. Probably the countries that border Russia. So Poland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, maybe even Finland. And then Ukraine, of course. So that is a little closer to Russia and Putin.
mm,
I don't know why it was to distract from our other stupid war that we're in. I'm not exactly sure the reasoning. I mean, Russia is helping the Iranians target, so maybe we're helping Europe. I don't know. But anyway, more of these dual capability aircraft are going into other NATO countries closer to Russia. Exactly what that means or what's going to come of it, I'm not sure. But
interesting.
so anyway, we'll see. All right, so there's a couple of things. The U.S. Israeli Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative, which is actually it's a bill, or it's part of the appropriations bill. It's actually a more tightly coupling of America and Israeli military. Tech sharing, data network integration, weapon cooperation, or co-production, actually, cooperation. So instead of us just giving them money, apparently we are trying to couple a little more tightly with the actual sovereign Israeli military, which for those of you that are skeptical about how much control or influence Israel has in America, well, this ought to tell you exactly what's happening here. We're actually attempting to, I don't think it's passed yet, but are attempting to weave our military directly into their military.
Right. Well, what about what we just did in Iran? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, yeah. Well, enough
Like,
said on that.
what's in this for us, you know?
Well, that's the funny part. I mean, everybody who's a Zionist supporter says, "Oh, whatever's good for Israel is good for America." But yeah, they can never really answer. How does this help
Oh,
America? Yeah, I mean, it was always, what are you gonna do for Israel? I've heard a number of CIA, ex-CIA people who just hate the Mossad, which Mossad is the CIA of Israel, and just hate them because all they cared about was just, what can you do for Israel? What can you do for us? And there was no real sharing of anything.
right.
So I don't know. Maybe we should just make Israel the 51st state and just be done with it. Let's go. Let's get Puerto Rico, DC, and Israel, and then we can have 53 states, and it'll be a lot easier to.
So, right. So, in the larger view, to me, this is the beginning of this new world order. And I'm seeing Trump really promote this America Israel alliance
Mhm.
even more so than Europe.
Yeah, if you're a big Zionist, you probably are jumping for joy at this. If you're an anti-Zionist, then you're not.
Christians would be supportive of this as well.
Well, Christian Zionists are, a lot of the
Evangelicals?
evangelicals are Christian Zionists, and we're thinking, well, why would the Christians be such Zionists? And apparently, they think that Israel coming to fruition would increase the chances of Jesus coming back.
What
They
is
think it's
that?
part of the prophecy. Once Israel becomes self-fulfilled, then Jesus will come back. So that it's kind of weird, but
Okay.
I think that's their logic. So.
I see. Okay.
Because Christian Zionist doesn't make sense to me until you kinda look at it that way, so.
So they're a big constituency for Trump.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
the Christian white, or pardon me, the Christian right is
yes,
big fans of his. So,
got it. Okay.
all right, enough war and Israel stuff. Let's see. I've got we missed this last episode, but Trump is now prosecuting E. Jean Carroll,
Yeah,
the woman who, yeah, isn't this a great
I know.
country? Isn't this a great country where you can rape somebody and then prosecute them afterwards? Boy, God bless America, huh? So
Right.
here's a
So
E. Jean Carroll is a woman who won like an $80 million lawsuit against Trump I think it was I think it was a
yeah,
civil law about being raped in a department store dressing room 35 years ago or whenever it was.
right.
And she won that suit, and now he turns around and he's suing her using his Justice Department to go after her. I mean, isn't that just lovely?
I understand she doesn't care, she knows he has nothing to stand on.
Mhm.
She's taking it really well. So,
I hope
God
I'm
bless
that
her,
feisty when I'm 83, but
He's just trying to get out of pain because he's cheap.
yeah. Yeah, and he's a dick. So,
Yeah.
all right, but something that is the next thing is the Delaney Hall protests. This
Yeah.
is be the ICE detention center in Newark, New Jersey, Delaney Hall, which they've got now people are going on hunger strikes. They're getting disgusting food, and you've got people outside are getting more and more active, attacking and
Mhm.
trying to get into the place. Is more and more vicious demonstrations
Right,
mhm,
and I've heard that congressmen who are supposed to be able to drop by and visit at any point, they're not being allowed in,
mhm.
and it's just horrible, horrible conditions.
Yeah, and finally, the people, I don't know how many people are actually involved here, but you've got hunger strikes going on. I don't be surprised if it gets worse, starts shooting, or if they can maybe do a bum rush and try to get into the building. Well, I guess we'll see, but it's getting more and more vicious over there, and New Jerseyans aren't happy about this. So
Okay.
I guess we'll see. We'll see if it upgrades to more vicious activity
Right.
here, but.
Well, it sounds like it could get worse, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah, and we'll see. And then, and under the category of can we get any lower than this? I'm hearing a rumor that guess who do you think is going to rumored to replace Anderson Cooper on 60 Minutes?
Anderson Cooper, someone who is highly, reputable, honored, journalist. I don't
Yes.
know.
And
Who?
who do you think's rumored to replace him?
I give up.
Joe Rogan.
Of course.
This is the man who got famous by getting people to eat flies.
Yeah.
And by some weird quirk of fate, ended up being, I think, the most popular podcaster and
Yeah.
on the planet. And oh no, not anymore. But and
Yeah.
is largely responsible, and maybe not largely responsible, but largely contributed to Trump's victory in his second
Winning,
term.
that's right, but now he's against Trump, but this is a way for Trump to get Joe on his good side again, right?
I suppose. I mean, the
Yeah, because
CBS. Yeah.
Ellison is Trump's friend,
Mm-hmm.
and Trump is approving Ellison buying CBS,
Mm-hmm.
and with 60 Minutes being the top show, and if they put Joe Rogan on there or offer him the job, then, Trump will have control of Joe Rogan.
That's, well, I guess we'll see. I mean, that seems like a completely reasonable outcome here, but we'll see. These Manosphere guys are turning on him. The war and the
They
Epstein
are. I
files.
don't Yeah, do you think he would accept it?
Yeah, I think Brogan might be looking ahead to Trump's about to turn 80. Maybe he's looking ahead to the next thing, and he might not be so open about it. Plus, I don't know if
Right.
that's his style. You got to wear a suit and that kind of stuff. So maybe not. But anyway, even that there's a rumor about it kind of annoyed me. But
Yeah, no,
oh,
true.
all right. All
What a
right.
letdown for his fans.
Yeah, they might actually. Joe, you're wearing a suit and you're being a journalist. What the hell? So, all right, moving on to the business report. In another shocking development, the price of gas at our local gas station is down another 20 cents to 4.59.
Wow.
Now, on the other hand, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which is basically our store of extra oil, is now the lowest that it has ever been. I don't quite know the exact how much is left, but we established this in
Is
1983,
draining our reserves because of
and
the war.
yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and we have it's never been lower. So they must be pumping this into the system to try to lower whatever, doing whatever they can to keep the prices lower, and hopefully they'll get the Strait of Hormuz open, and things will, and the price of oil on the futures market will collapse or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's being artificially pumped up because of the SPR stuff, but
Mm,
we will see. This is just kind of befuddles me. I think it's going to go from 455.59 to 559 and overnight
in a minute.
somehow.
Yeah.
In a minute, there's going to be some breaking point here, or if they end up coming to some sort of deal and opening this strait and getting things back to normal, who knows? So
Mhm.
I saw that 13% of households are now defaulting on their credit cards. When confronted with this, that more households are defaulting on their credit cards, he says, "Well, I talked to the CEOs and they say everything's doing fine."
Good lord.
Well, let me tell you what you already know is that there's two Americas here. There's the rich and the rest of us poor slobs. And so, of course, all these CEOs are going, "Yeah, no problem, no problem." So
It's all gonna come crashing down.
yeah, so regular households defaulting on their credit cards mainly because they got to use their credit cards to buy food.
The interest rates are at 29%,
29%. Yeah,
almost
there you
30% for poor people who are using their credit cards to buy food for their family, and they can't pay it back.
Yep. Yep.
No wonder they're
So,
defaulting.
so of course the CEOs are doing fine because if they're charging 29%, they
Right.
can lose
So
13% of
they could
defaults
probably
and no
afford
problem.
to have 30% of households default.
Yeah, and they don't even care. They have
Don't make money.
no friggin' clue. So, and I just wanted they're talking more about Open AI and Anthropic IPOs that are coming up. And the reason I brought it up is because they're talking trillions. They're talking IPOs in the
Right.
trillions, and SpaceX is another thing that the SpaceX IPO is all. They're
Right.
all on the verge, and we're talking companies in the trillions here, which will probably happen. It's be a perfect thing that Elon Musk become a trillionaire. So we'll just see how long he stays a trillionaire. Well, and you never know about
Yeah.
this stuff, but OpenAI, Anthropic, which are AI companies, and then SpaceX, which is trying to get us into space, and they're doing all right on it. IPOs are coming up in the trillions, and I guess we'll see what happens there. So,
Yeah.
and kind of the funnest part of the show, what I saw, or don't be surprised.
Mm.
So apparently, Google is attempting to seek, I think it's FDA approval to release into the wild 32 million lab sterilized mosquitoes in California and Florida. So apparently these are male mosquitoes that have been injected with a virus, Wolbachia, which makes them impotent. So the theory being is that because I guess female mosquitoes are the only ones that bite, and so when the males and the females have sex, then the males die, and then the females go bite and try to get some blood, I would guess. So, but if they got this virus or bacteria, then they're sterile. So I think the whole point is to try to reduce the mosquito population. But I
Why
found
is
that
Google doing that?
that's exactly what I thought. It's like, here's the search engine computer, and they're doing.
We can't get
uh,
vaccines anymore,
We can't get vaccines anymore, and we're giving bacteria to mosquitoes,
so they
and
don't bite us.
bite. Yeah, so they'll bite us, but they won't give us
Everything
diseases.
going on in the world, this is what they focus their time on?
Actually, mosquitoes do send a lot of problems around the country, encephalitis and
Malaria?
malaria and that sort of stuff.
How
So
about we
I
send them to Africa instead?
exactly, exactly, but.
California and Florida.
Yeah, so maybe they're trying to take a page out of Bill Gates's book, who's been actually fairly philanthropic, trying
Mhm.
to get rid of some of these diseases. Anyway, the Googles are trying to reduce mosquitoes.
My god.
We'll see what happens there. So, and let's see. One weird thing I saw is that Reza Paleva ended up going to Ukraine. Reza Paleva is the son of the Shah of Iran.
Mm.
I forget the Shah of Iran's first name, but his last name was Paleva. And so when he got taken over, when he escaped out of Iran, when the Ayatollahs took over in 1979, his son got the hell was like 17 at the time and got the hell out. And he's been living mostly in America this whole time. And the neocons and the right wing want him to return to Iran, go back and be the Shah, which ain't gonna happen.
Not anymore.
Yeah, and I've seen a few guys say that if Raza Palevich flies into to Iran, he will not get shot before he steps off the plane.
Yeah.
But he shows up in Ukraine and is welcomed by Ukraine. I couldn't
Why
quite figure,
Ukraine?
why. I mean, Ukraine's on our side because we helped them get going for 2 years, and now they're moving forward with Europe. But Ukraine is definitely with America because of the help we got from the Biden
Right.
administration. And Ukraine is helping us on drone technology, and but the son of the Shah of Iran ends up in Ukraine to not a hero's welcome, but a friendly welcome. And I'm trying to connect the dots. It just looked weird. I thought I'd bring it up.
It is odd.
Yeah, the whole area there. It's really interesting to see what's gonna happen. So,
Yeah.
and the last thing I got. I'm kind of a techie guy, so I'm seeing more about China and their research and development of drones at the Northwest Polytech University. I don't know what city that's in China, but they are making some progress on something called HGSTR drones, decentralized drone swarms. So this is,
Well,
for you guys who want to Google it, heterogeneous graph spatio-temporal reasoning drones.
is
And
it like AI, agentic AI, where they're actually thinking for themselves?
you got it. Ding, ding,
My
ding.
god.
You got it. So these are
Do you remember
swarm.
iRobot with Will Smith?
Yeah, yep, hell yeah. So a part of the drone technology is swarms where they'll send in one big missile and then it'll kind of fly out with, 80 drones and maybe 30 of them will get shot down, but then the other 50 just sort of cooperate and can get through. And so this is the next level. They're still under control of humans, but they're, decentralized. They're thinking for themselves here and cooperating with each other and going after targets without any human intervention. And China is feeding Iran technology.
China is helping around with this.
They're helping themselves. Well, China's helping Iran with other
Nice
stuff. And
test
so
center.
this is nice tech center, the Northwest Polytech University. I don't know what city exactly it's
No,
in,
what
but
I mean is it's a place for China to test.
yeah, it's a perfect test ground.
Yeah, hey,
Uh,
where's a good war nearby we could use? We could test these.
hey, Iranians, you want to try this?
Exactly.
And you
This
don't
is
even
the
need.
end of the world as we know it.
Yes, I that might actually be a correct thing to say. It's not like we're gonna blow up, but times are changing, that's for sure. And so
Okay.
HGSTR for those of you that want to Google it.
Well,
Anyway,
now
eh,
I might need to have a drink. Okay.
yes. So anyway, that's all I got.
All right, it's all we have for today. Thanks for listening. And of course, please follow, subscribe, or share with your buddies. Have a good evening.
Thanks for listening to episode 16.